On my Instagram, I try to reply as often as I can to questions about art and animation. I know a lot of you who watch my content are young, aspiring artists, or you want to get into animation and you don't know where to start. And although my Instagram DMs are always open, there's only so many times I can answer the same question over and over again. And while this video isn't going to be a direct response to a specific question, I will be talking about my journey into digital art and how I became an animator. Hopefully, this will provide somewhat of a blueprint to those of you that want to follow in the same footsteps. I should also mention this video is sponsored by Wacom. I'm going to talk about it more at the end of this video, but I'm really happy to have their endorsement, particularly on this video, because Wacom played a big role into my artistic journey, as you will soon find out. So where did it all start for me? Well, first let's set the scene a little bit. I grew up in post-communist Romania, sharing a small room with my brother who was 1 year older than me. I mean, he still is 1 year older, we just don't share a room anymore, thank God. But for a very long time, we were both crammed into this very tiny space. We were raised by a single mother and our grandparents on her side, who also shared a room. My grandpa slept on the couch, and my mom and my grandma slept on the floor. I'm telling you this because I know there's a lot of kids out there in similar situations who don't even dream of becoming a financially independent artist because they don't even know that's possible. So we were poor as heck. I didn't have any guidance. I didn't even know I wanted to become an animator. I was just doodling and drawing comics all day long because I was really shy. I was bullied in school. For me, drawing was not a hobby, it was an escape. We had this old computer that me and my brother would always fight over, and I remember one day as I was on the computer in 2006, I found out about this website called DeviantArt. It was a forum of artists of all ages and skill levels, where people shared their art but also tips and all kinds of useful information. It was here that I found out about digital art, and I fell in love with it. I was 14 and my new goal was to become a comic book digital artist. I found out about Photoshop and drawing tablets, and everyone was recommending and raving about Wacom. So as a broke 14-year-old, I started running errands for kids in my school. I'd go buy lunch for them and they gave me a cut of their money. And I saved up every penny until I had just enough to buy my first Wacom tablet. It was a used older model that I bought at half price. It was 200 Romanian lei, at that time around $60 US. And it could have easily been a scam, but it was the only way that I could afford a drawing tablet. I waited and counted the days for it to get in the mail, and as soon as I got my hands on it, I used it every single day. But here's the important thing that you need to understand. As an artist, you need to grow on two separate lanes. You need to, of course, develop your drawing skills, but it's equally, if not more important, to grow your business knowledge, to understand how the industry works, to learn how to use social media platforms to your advantage, to make connections, and to learn from people who are more experienced than you. I think a big mistake that a lot of beginners make is that they focus only on the technical drawing part without paying any attention to the business side of things. If you want to make a living as an artist or an animator, you need to grow both of these skills at the same time. And somehow, as a 14-year-old, I intuitively understood that, and I started looking for work as soon as I had the tablet. It didn't matter that I wasn't good enough yet. I volunteered on other people's webcomics. I entered drawing contests. I did free commissions and art trades. I always pretended that I was more experienced than I actually was, because that would get my foot in the door, and by doing the gig that I wasn't good at, I was learning and getting better in the process. I worked for free on a lot of indie projects, and it wasn't until 2009 that I earned my first $5 for this drawing right here. There was no way for me to get paid online at that time, so the guy mailed me the $5 bill all the way to Romania in an envelope. To be honest, I think he may have paid more on the postage than the value of the $5 bill inside of the envelope. Of course, nowadays it's much easier to get paid. You have PayPal, Coffee, Patreon. People don't need to mail you the payment. But I'm glad that that happened, because to this day I still have my first $5 bill framed on my desk. The following years I started getting more and more commission work. I never really earned a lot, but I was doing what I loved, and the few dollars that I was earning here and there motivated me to keep going. In 2011, when I was 19, I moved to Denmark by myself to study web design, of all things. My mom pushed me in this direction because supposedly web design pays a lot, and it's kind of in the same area of what I was doing on my own. But if I knew then what I know now, I would have never gone to college. It slowed me down so much, and it took away precious time that I could have put into developing the path that I was already on. And spoiler alert, I later dropped out of college anyway. This is a very common misconception, and I get this question probably every day. Did you go to animation school or art school to study art? And it annoys the living goose out of me, because you don't study art. You learn art by making art. By going to college, you are forced into somebody else's learning structure and time frame, and it's usually much slower and inadequate to your personal learning needs. If you're ambitious enough, you're watching tutorials, going on forums, connecting with other artists on the same level that you're on, and you're going to develop much faster and more efficiently, if you have the ambition for it. Now, I've been purposefully leaving out the animation part out of this video so far because it's important to understand that I never set out to become an animator. I did experiment with animation. In middle school, for example, all of my notebooks had little stickman flipbook animations on them. In 2007, I was making full-on animation shorts on DeviantArt, but it was always secondary to my goal of becoming a comic book artist, which eventually faded off. One of the reasons for that being that I was colorblind. Oops. When I started my YouTube channel in 2013, I was doing a lot of fan art for popular YouTubers, speed art videos. I was too shy to record my voice in any of the videos, so having a big YouTube channel with a dedicated audience was a foreign concept to me. At that point, I felt more comfortable telling other people's stories, so I started experimenting with fan animations, taking clips from popular channels and animating them. One channel in particular that I loved around that time was SourceFed, RIP, and after 3 or 4 fan animations that I did for them, Philip DeFranco reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, I see what you're doing here. Would you like to make these weekly animations on the SourceFed channel?" And I was like, yeah. So he passed me over to the SourceFed producers, and for the following 2 years, I made over 200 animations for them, and I learned so much in the process. I developed my own style, my visual sense of humor. I learned what audiences want and how to play off of what they're giving me. I then worked for Smosh for about a year. I did some freelance animation for other companies here and there, but eventually I just got tired of animating other people's stories. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have worked with all of these people. They have indirectly taught me a lot of what I know today, but it wasn't creatively fulfilling for me to keep doing that in the long term. And the straw that broke the camel's back was the now infamous situation where I had to turn down working with Kylie Jenner. I wanted to tell my stories. I wanted to talk about my thoughts. So when the Kylie Jenner video started getting traction, it was sort of my Pokemon evolution, my Super Saiyan transformation. I dropped everything I was doing, I stopped working for other people, and I put all of my efforts into my own channel. And the rest, of course, is history. Here's the key points that I recommend you take away from this video. Number 1, don't expect someone else to give you all of the solutions on a silver platter. Don't just message me or the odd ones out expecting us to give you the magical solution that's gonna make you great overnight. As rude as that sounds, established animators don't have the time to reply to every message. Instead, go get involved in art communities and forums where there's many people just like you willing to help each other out. Number 2, when you're just starting out, you don't need to be an expert to find work. Volunteer on small-scale indie projects, do free art commissions, connect with other artists, build your online presence little by little. Now, this may sound contradictory to what I said in the Kylie Jenner video, where I advised people to put a price tag on their time, but this is a balance you alone have to judge, when to work for free and when it's time to charge for your time. And unfortunately, there is no clear answer to that. It's a lesson that you will have to learn through your own experience. Number 3, forget about the myth that you need to go to art school, especially if you live in a country where the tuition is going to put you in debt. And number 4, understand that digital art and animation is a career that you're going to have for the rest of your life. Don't compare yourself to people with millions of subscribers. I got my first Wacom tablet when I was 14. I'm about to turn 27 next month. It took me 13 years to get to the point where you see me now, and I'm nowhere near where I'm going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. You're on a continuous learning journey, and you will never be perfect. You will never know everything there is to know. You can only strive to be better than you were last year and the year before. Now, once again, this is not the perfect blueprint, this is not the perfect solution, these are my experiences, and I hope you take away something from this video that's going to inspire you and put you on your own journey, even if, most likely, for you that's going to take a much different form than the steps that I had to go through. Now, when Wacom reached out to sponsor this video, it was one of those full circle moments, because I've been using Wacom products since I was a kid, and they've always been the market leader when it comes to drawing tablets. They've just released the new Cintiq 16 model, and this is a great move by Wacom, because for a long time, their display tablets have been in the thousands of dollars price range. The new Cintiq 16 is only $649, which makes it affordable to intermediary artists who don't feel quite ready yet to invest twice or 3 times the amount on a full-spec Cintiq Pro display tablet. Now keep in mind, if you're just starting out and you don't want to invest in a display tablet, you can always get a drawing tablet without a screen. I would recommend something like a Wacom Intuos, which is I think around $70. But if you're looking for a display tablet and you're on a budget, I think the Cintiq 16 is a really good option. The screen size is 15.6 inches, full HD resolution with an anti-glare screen. It connects to your computer with a 3-in-1 cable, so it's not very messy if you want to move the tablet around. The pen doesn't need batteries, it draws power from the screen itself. It comes with tilt support. It feels very natural to hold in your hand because Wacom pens are designed ergonomically for long-term use, which is something I can't say for a lot of the other competitors. To read the full specs of the product, check the link in the description. If you're looking for a display tablet, you're definitely gonna want to check this out. Thank you for watching this. I'll see you again very soon.